Well, hello and welcome back to Glencoe. Oh, hello, Fern. I'm not actually in Glencoe, I'm in Ballahoolish actually. I'm in the quarry. No reason really, I'm just walking the dog. And the reason being is I've been away the last couple of weeks doing some workshops. I'm really busy with workshops. We actually did a week course from a company called Hunt's Photography Adventures over in the States. Now, Hunt's is a big camera company who sell kit in the States, but they also do the odd adventure. And they came over here for a week. Here we are, look. All smiling. We had a great week and a great group, and it was just a pleasure. I know you guys watching, it was a pleasure to be with you guys. We had a fantastic week. It was one of the best weeks I've had in photography of my life. It was such a good week. But we came over and we spent a few days in Glencoe, and then we went up and we did a few days in Skye, and then we ended up over in Mull. Now, the reason this video is I thought it'd be a shame not to show you some of my images from that. It's a shame just to put on my computer and you guys don't get the opportunity to see it. There was no video because I was obviously working, but I did get a few shots over my client's shoulders there, so thank you very much for the clients for being patient with me to allow me to do that. So what I thought I'd do in this video, just talk you through some of the shots I took, just to let you guys see what we ended up with. So what we did then is the guys turned up, we picked them up in Edinburgh and we drove all the way back up to Glencoe, and we stayed at the Isles of Glencoe. Thank you so much, they were great. And then the next day we ended up going into Glencoe itself, and one of our first locations was a place called Loch Fada down at Glenetiv. And the reason I was there, the light was fantastic. It just worked really well for me. And because it was high pressure last week, we got this lovely reflections, and it was like glass. I think it was the best I've ever seen Loch Fada. It really was. So here's my shot from Loch Fada. I just managed to creep one in there. And what I did is I put the reflection in. I put the horizon right in the middle because I just liked it like that. And we were there. When we got there, just straight away, the light just cramped on past and lit up them beautiful trees on the back right side of the loch in there, and just really popped. And actually I was surprised, even that sort of second week in November, how much trees had still got leaves on. It was incredible. So we were really lucky over the week because most of the shots were almost like sort of fall autumn colours, even though we were coming way out of that because that's usually October, so the leaves were clinging on this year. So that's my beautiful Loch Fada, and you can see the two buckles and the Larry Garter U-shaped valley there. Now my next shot we did take, we did a few more shots around the glen itself, but then I kind of wanted to get sunset down. So we went down to Port Appin there, and we went to Castle Storr, which is a classic sunset place. In fact, Castle Storr is so nice because it's such a wide vista with the castle in it. What you can get is it don't really matter what time of year. If the sun is going to give you nice colours, then you're going to see it in the shot. So yeah, we ended up down there. Now when we got there plenty of time, but unfortunately the light didn't quite play ball. There was a little bit of a golden glow, but only very briefly. But what we did get is the blue hour, and the blue hour was fantastic. It was absolutely spectacular. So what I did is this shot, you can see this Castle Stalker shot, and I had to bracket this because obviously with the sun behind the castle goes pitch black and it becomes a silhouette. So we had to do a few brackets here, and also I did a bit of focus stacking as well because the pontoon on my right hand side was very close to the camera here. But with that dramatic sky, it was just fantastic, so it was great. So here's my Castle Stalker shot. Now I have to say the gods were smiling on me last week. We got this, I looked at the weather report and I could see it coming up, and it was just perfect for photography. And it was that sunshine and showers sort of usual weather we get kind of end of October, November time. And that is exactly what you need for photography because you just get that beautiful light, and the gods were definitely smiling on me last week. I've probably used all my credit up and I'm probably going to get terrible light for the rest of the year because the light was so good all week. I can't even tell you how many rainbows we saw. There was millions of them. It was just brilliant, and you'll see a few in the shots coming up. Okay, so then what we ended up doing is we ended up driving up to the Isle of Skye, and we stayed a few days in Portree at the Cooling Hills Hotel. Fantastic, it was wonderful, really nice hotel. So we stayed there and we got a few days in the Isle of Skye. Now, we did get sunset at Algol the first night, but it weren't very good, to be honest. It was a shame because the light just kind of popped a little bit, but it weren't facing the Cooling Ridge, which is the classic shot from Algol. So we've probably got some decent shots looking into the sun, looking down the way, but the main shot from Algol didn't really work for us. But the next morning we got up and we drove up to, we went up to the Old Manor Storr and we started to head north from Portree. And that first morning we first started off at Loch Fada, which just looks out over the Storr and the Old Manor Storr, and what a beautiful location. So we all got there, we all got set up, and the light was just amazing. This tiger eye come across the mountain of Storr and the Old Manor Storr and just lit it up, and it was just absolutely stunning. It really was. So I was delighted with the shot. Now the image here is a really classic sort of location. You've got the little island in the middle with the tree on it, and what I actually did is, again, I've spoke about this quite a lot, is I take a really fast shot for that tree just to freeze the action because I didn't want it blowing about. So I took a really fast shot there, and then I took a really slow shot. I banged on a 10-stop filter actually. So I put the 10-stop on and it just gave me a nice slow softness to the sky, so you can see the clouds are lovely and soft. And that little tiger eye of light just slided in, and it was just, wow, it was heavenly, it really was. It was just one of those magical moments. Now, we did get to Storr itself, and we all sort of headed up Storr, but Storr is a bit of a challenge, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a good old trek to get up to Photographer's Mound, just on the right-hand side. If you ever want to see a video of doing the Old Manor Storr, I'll put the link in the top here. You can have a look at that. It was quite nice. But we've got a few of the group up to Photographer's Mount, and we got a wonderful shot. The light was grey, but the reason I popped this into black and white is I just felt it gave more contrast, and I think it was because the Old Manor Storr and all the needles were almost silhouetted, and that gave they were very dominant in the shot, so it gave me a big contrast between the bright sky around it. And if you look in the background, there's a nice little storm coming in with the raindrops coming down as well. So I really love that image. So, and I tried it in colour, and I just thought, you know what, this works better in black and white, which is unusual for me because I don't do much in black and white. But I just thought it was a fantastic shot, and well done for the group of you for all getting up there. Now, my next image is we got sunset. We went right up to the top there and went to Duntulm Castle. Excuse my pronunciation. It's a lovely little castle, it really is. It's not very sort of, it's more of a ruin really. It's not really very prominent. But if you get on down to the bottom of it, you can actually look up, and then you've got the rocks and the water, and then the castle perching on this very dodgy cliff face. It's actually quite an interesting story. Apparently the nanny was looking after the child in there, and the child fell out of that window that you can see in the photograph and died. So to punish the nanny, they put her on a boat and set her out into the Atlantic and killed her. God, crikey. But Duntulm Castle, now this was wonderful. I got down to the rocks and we got the waves coming in. And even though in this photo it looks like the light was absolutely amazing, when we were getting there you could see the light was going to hide behind these clouds. So it went behind the clouds, but then for a very brief second, about 30 seconds, and I was shouting at the clients, it's coming, get ready. And we got about 30 seconds of absolute perfect quality light, and this is when I managed to get the shot here. So yeah, I really like that. I would say this is possibly one of my two favourites from the week itself. I love the colours and I just love the composition. It really worked really well. I popped on a 10 stopper again, so this is a really super slow shot, probably about, I reckon this was about 5 seconds at least, just to soften that water for me. So yeah, this is probably one of my favourite shots of the week. So just a bit of a plug for my business. I generally specialise in one-to-one. So we do like 1 day, half-day tours, and people sometimes book me for 2 or 3 days, and we'll travel around a little bit as well. And it's all bespoke, so you can book it at your convenience, which is really good. Now, Hunt's contacted me and did ask, could I help him out? Yeah, because this is the first time they'd ever been to Scotland. And so I kind of helped them out. I managed to arrange the hotels, and we sorted out accommodation and the food and all the transport and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that we can do for you guys. So if you're a group of friends or a camera club or looking for something that's a bit more bespoke, then yeah, please get in touch. The website details are at the end of the video here. Just get in touch with me and I can kind of create a bespoke sort of workshop for you guys. You'll get me as well, and we'll help you out at your different budgets, and we'll give you a price, and then you can fix things. You can do a 2, 3, 4. Hunt's ended up doing a 7-day trip for us. So yeah, get in touch. So we did quite a bit more in Skye, but then we did come back and get on the mainland, and obviously you've got to stop at Sligachan Bridge. A famous shot, it really is. And the good thing is, being in November, you don't get lots of tourists walking over it, which is a nightmare because it's very rare throughout the summer you'll get anybody not on the bridge. So we managed to get the bridge, and again I slowed this right down, and I must have been in a black and white session for some reason, because I just felt this really worked black and white as well. And I think it is that contrast of those stormy clouds, and if you look in the background, the sun is just raying out, so there's these rays of sunlight coming out, and then super slow for the water, which was lovely. So yeah, here's my shot of Sligachan Bridge. Now, I've got a few more shots to come, but not many, so don't panic. But we did go over to Mull then. We had a wonderful time on Mull. And the second morning we came back down to do the Salen boats, the classic fishing boats at Salen. If you're ever there, you've got to do the Salen boats. It was a wonderful location. But again, with that stormy light coming, it was just fantastic. So what happened is we got the boat sitting there and they were kind of lined up, and then the light just hit the side of the boats, and you'll see this shot. It's a little bit abstract for me, but I just love the way that the light hit on the right hand side of the boats, and then in the distance you can see the starting of what turned out to be something absolutely spectacular, which was the start of this little rainbow coming on the left hand side. So I love this shot. It's a really nice shot of the Salen boats. So just after I took that last shot, honestly, it was like angels were singing. The sky opened up, and oh my word, I think it was the best rainbows. That's how good it was. It was rainbows I've ever seen. And the light just hit the rain behind the boats, and wow, we got this very vivid rainbow. And then just afterwards we got the second inverted rainbow behind it, and it was so punchy, and the light was just absolutely fantastic. And all the clients were just there. It was like almost like an angelic moment, it really was. And we were just going mental, snapping away, trying to get this shot. So here's my shot of the three boats, lying at Salen. They look like whales just lying on the beach, don't they? Rotting to the environment that's around them. But when that light hit them, the colours just exploded, and it was just one of those magical moments that I'll never forget. And actually, that's a good thing to say about photography, is when you look at these images, it's more than just an image. And I'll never forget that moment when we were standing there and all of a sudden these rainbows lit the light and the sky went fantastic. And it was just, everybody was just in awe, even including me. It was just so fantastic. So my penultimate shot on Mull was an interesting one. We were trying to get back up to, we were at Craignor, we were trying to get back up to Tobermory, but fortunately there was an accident, so we couldn't, we got stuck. So we ended up doing this adventure trip down south. Now, I've never been that kind of far south. We kind of did a loop. So we went past Duntulm Castle, Craignor, all the way down, and then you can actually turn off right, which will loop you back up to Salen. And what a lovely drive that was. It was spectacular. Now, there is a waterfall halfway down there. So we stopped at this waterfall. I can't pronounce it at all, so I'm going to put the name on the bottom there for you. But it was a wonderful waterfall. We had to walk up a little bit to get it. But yeah, it was a nice little one of those where we would normally never have been. So sometimes you've got to make the best out of it, and actually when you make the best out of it, sometimes you get something spectacular. So we had this lovely waterfall in. Definitely I'm going to be a bit more interested in going around that southern area of the Isle of Mull, because I think there's a lot more there than you can actually see. Now, my final shot is the final day on Mull itself, and we got up, we were at the Western Isles Hotel, and that was great as well. I must sort of shout out to the Western Isles. But then what we ended up doing is we got up for sunrise and we walked. So if you get to the top of Tobermory and keep walking, you get like a 25-30 minute walk, and it gets you to the lighthouse. And we got to the beautiful lighthouse. And it was a bit worried because when we opened the curtains in the morning, it was blue skies. It was absolutely blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. And I thought, oh, this is not be very good. And as we started to walk in the dark, we got closer and closer. These clouds started to form in the sky. And I just knew this was something special about to happen. And as we got there, and we got a composition, and you can see my composition there. We got down there, and the light was just spectacular. And the sun came over the horizon and lit up this beautiful clouds, lit up the rocks and lit up the lighthouse, and it was just a spectacular shot. It really was. And this is the second one of my favourite, because you know I love colour. So to see that colour and to see that lighthouse, and actually when I was googling locations and stuff like that for images around Skye, you don't see many of that lighthouse. And I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but they're all kind of touristy shots of the lighthouse. There's no real landscape images of this lighthouse, and as you can see by my image, I really like it. It's a fantastic location, so I'm surprised you don't see so much. So if you're ever in Mull, go and shoot the lighthouse at sunrise, because it was just fantastic. Now with this shot, once again, I'm very close to them rocks, so I did focus stack, as the barnacles on the foreground would have been out of focus, and I've obviously slowed this right down a little bit as well. Now I did do a little bit, I'll probably confess, there's a little big, kind of a solar panel sticking on the lighthouse itself, and I didn't like that, so I have removed that in Photoshop because it just didn't work for me. But so some of you might, oh, why is that solar panel not there in Karl's shot? Well, that's because I took it out, and I'm quite happy to do that because it didn't bring anything to the table. It kind of set it to a very modern location, and what I wanted is an image that looked a bit, it could have been from any time, Victorian or whenever, it could have been any time, and sticking solar panels on the thing just brings it to the 21st century, so that's why I took it out. But as you can see, the light was fantastic, so I was delighted with that. so I hope you like them images. I quite like a few of them, particularly one or two I was really impressed with. So if you like them, do me a favour, go on down, click on the thumbs up as usual, it really helps. And if you really like the content, go on the subscribe button, click on the bell, you get a notification, and it really boosts the old algorithms and increases the awareness of my channel. So thank you so much for that. Nothing more to say, apart from I'm probably going to get a bit of time this week, so I'm trying to get it out next week or this week, and we'll actually post a normal video as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.